Kerry.
Yeah.
This is a confession to conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what you're here to talk about.
Yeah. Because in the state of Louisiana, I believe that I could be tried for conspiracy to commit murder in the assassination of John F. Kennedy. This is something I didn't realize until 1975 because I didn't understand the relevance of the discussion that I had participated in until Watergate. However, Clay Shaw was acquitted for that crime when Jim Garrison tried to put him in jail for conspiracy. I believe the law states that if two or more people, sit around and talk about killing somebody, and then one person in that group takes steps to kill that person, they're all guilty of conspiracy to commit murder, which is a 20-year sentence, maximum sentence.
And so, did you participate in discussions about killing Kennedy?
Yes.
With whom?
I don't know. One of my theories is it might have been Howard Hunt. It was a guy like a plumber. He was a lot like a plumber. He claimed that he was connected with organized crime, like a Watergate plumber.
What were you doing? Where were you? When was it?
I was in New Orleans. I met a guy I was a telephone solicitor at the Foster Awning Company, and I met a guy on the job named Slim Brooks. And Slim was a seaman in dry dock with tuberculosis, a few years older than I was, and considered himself much wiser. Gave me a tour of the French Quarter and showed me around and all that. And then he introduced me to this guy, this weird, bald-headed Nazi called his brother-in-law, who came into town just right after the Bay of Pigs invasion, about 2 weeks later. And he said, his brother-in-law's name was Gary, and he said, Gary, this is Kerry, Kerry, this is Gary, and then he said, he doesn't like Kennedy either, ha ha ha. And Gary said, Kerry, he says, in fact, I think John F. Kennedy is a menace to this country and that he ought to be assassinated. And that was the way I felt, and I shook hands with him. I said, yes. And Slim said, oh goody, I was a catalyst, like that. To me it was just, at the time it was something that it seemed too good to be true to think that it was actually an important conversation to me at that time. It's like, oh yeah, well he probably really isn't into killing. It was just something that Slim wanted to make a joke about.
Had you been making statements about killing Kennedy before that?
Yeah.
Where and when?
Anybody who'd listen, my barber, just anybody who'd listen, I didn't, and of course New Orleans even was a 95% Catholic town, so a lot of people who disagreed with Kennedy's politics liked him anyway because he was Catholic, and vice versa. A lot of people who were Catholic were ashamed of him because they disagreed with his politics, but it was like, there was a whole different atmosphere from anything I had experienced
And
before.
what were you doing?
I was just being obnoxious, walking around proselytizing for Ayn Rand, and being pretty much chip on my shoulder, willing to start an argument, very judgmental, wanted to be a radical capitalist revolutionary.
Were you a rabble-rouser?
I was trying to be a rabble-rouser. I wasn't very good at it. I was working at it. I was good at it on an individual basis.
Were you a political activist?
I was trying to be a political activist. I wasn't involved in any organizations. I was always trying to form an organization, though.
At this time, were you working on a book?
Yeah, I was writing a book. Well, I had just finished writing during most of this time. I had just, at the time I met Slim, I was working on the book. By the time I became somewhat of a rabble-rouser, I had already written the book.
And what was it about?
It was called The Idle Warriors. It was about a Marine who defected to the Soviet Union. It was based on my Marine Corps buddy, Lee Harvey Oswald, who defected to the Soviet Union when I was overseas. I read about it in the Stars and Stripes. I said, this is great. This is the way I'll end the novel. I'll have the main character defect. Excellent, and it'll tie in with, that's something exciting, that's something interesting, that's dramatic, And so I tried to figure out why Oswald defected. The way I did that, though, was I projected my own personality into him, why I would have defected.
So in your involvement with Lee Harvey Oswald, does this have anything to do with the Kennedy assassination?